Kourteney, when you're firing threes and you miss a few, 2, maybe 3, what's your mindset? I'm gonna shoot it again if it's open?
No, I definitely do now, like, keep shooting, because I know Coach will keep yelling at me, you gotta just keep shooting and stuff.
Really?
And at least tonight too, I felt like the ones that I did miss were really close, so that
Yeah,
didn't
they were good shots.
discourage me as much. But
Are you confident out there?
I think other people probably say that I'm not sometimes, but I don't know, sometimes I get down on myself, but I need to work on that.
Well, you're 7 for 13 from the field. I don't think you can ask a lot more than that from yourself. When you did hit the boards some tonight, and I think, you got into a lot of the offensive flow, especially probably the third quarter too. That's when you kind of went cold a little bit. But in the fourth quarter, I mean, I don't know what you guys, in between quarters there, Kemi didn't indicate that she jumped on anybody, but the third quarter was horrible. And it was almost like night and day from the first play in the fourth quarter all the way through. Was there some kind of mental type thing amongst yourselves to, hey, we've got to go back to what we did in the first half to, keep that distance?
Well, we're trying to work on that. It's the same thing that happened in San Diego. Like, when we played Valpo, we, in the second half, they kind of got a run. So it's just, we just got to keep coming out, after halftime and win that quarter.
Well, what did it feel like in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden you jump back up by 10? It's got to be like, okay, now we're back in that same mold, that same situation we were in the first half. Did it feel the same?
Yeah, I know that when, sometimes we come back and, we come out not very strong, and then we'll pick it back up, and then towards the end of the game, teams start getting aggressive, and that's another thing that we need to work on, is staying, aggressive with them, because they'll come out at us hard and stuff, and sometimes we start to lose it at the very end too. So,
Okay.
But I think tonight we did a good job of staying with it.
You've got 2 biggies back to back here, 2 tough games. One on the road, and then one here, but both. And Kemi said that she feels that South Dakota State is definitely an NCAA tournament team. What's that challenge like looking at? The next, you're gonna have both those teams in 7 days, over a 7-day span. It's a big challenge.
Yeah, well, we played both the teams last year too, and didn't do so great against them last year. So it's kind of like we did against Utah State. We didn't win last year, and we didn't play our best. So it's just kind of like a redemption game, and we're just going to come out hard in practices and scout them. Yeah.
You feel like, or do you want to use that as much of a gauge? I mean, after 7 games, you probably have a pretty good gauge of where you guys are at, and kind of can see the upside of what's coming. How do you try not to put too much on those 2 games, South Dakota State and CSU, and keep it in perspective, or you really feel like we need to show who we are in these next 2 games?
I mean, I think we never want to go into a game thinking, well, if we lose it, it's okay, they were a good team.
Right.
I think, we, coming out last year, we got beat pretty bad by South Dakota State, and I don't know, we want to show ourselves, definitely. I think come out, and especially going into conference games later, just to show that we can do it.
How much better do you think you are right now than you were second week in November, talking 3 weeks ago? A lot?
Pretty. Yeah, I think we're just our offense is coming together, and everyone's learning how to play with each other. Just it's coming a lot more natural. So I think we've made big strides.
Is it kind of in sections in terms of this is, we are this much better, we're this much better, and then, I mean, obviously to peak at the end, but going into conference games, you've got to really, all the stuff that was mumble jumble early, and even some of the younger girls, learning where to be, where to go, and so forth. I mean, I know how much easier it is for you guys now than it was even a year ago. All that to start to come together between now and the opening of conference. Is there a landing point, right as conference starts that you want to be on?
She always talks about momentum and just, keeping the games flowing, and every game to game, and keeping that going to the next game. And, and that's, I think, what we want to do going into the conference games is, play good in these last few games, and then as the season goes, peak at the end too.